What's up, everybody? Destroyer here with another video today, and I had a subscriber of mine asking me some very good questions about what you need for a bearded dragon. Well, to start out, what you need for a bearded dragon is a decent cage. Most definitely. You want to start out small. I'd get a 20-gallon tank if you're going to get a baby. That way they can grow out of it, and it gives you time to buy the bigger, more expensive one. You need lights. Now here at mine, it's kind of not permanently put on because I know this is not a permanent cage. So what I have here is I have a UV, and on the side here, if you can see, I've got my daytime light, which is the heat lamp, and it's located right above the basking place right here. And I also have a evening light, which is a red light, to keep humidity up in the tank for nighttime. Now, secondly, what you're going to need is how to set up your tank. You can use newspaper. I prefer reptile carpet, just because it's easy to clean and it's kind of fairly resistant to mold. So basically what you're going to need is to put down the carpet or newspaper. You're definitely going to need a basking thing. Rocks, plastic, whatever. Usually plastic and rock hold heat the best, keeps it the hottest. A water bowl is not necessary, but my dragon kind of likes to get into his bowl, as you can see here, so I have one in there. Definitely going to need a bowl for the veggies. That's 100% most important. And also I have another bowl for over here. This little brown one is for mealworms, or not mealworms, I'm sorry, superworms. That's how you want to set up your cage. Also, back up here a little bit, a temperature gauge is 100% crucial. It tells you exactly how much humidity you have in there. If it drops too low, your bearded dragon will die. It needs to be within 25 to 60 at all times for your bearded dragon to be comfortable. Now, another product that's going to be 100% necessary is reptile calcium D3. It's for use on a great range of reptiles, but it's very necessary for their calcium, for the calcium in their diet, and it's a really necessary product. Your bearded dragon could die if you do not have this. Basically, what you do is you put this in a bag, or you can even put this in an old superworm little container, and you dust the crickets, and that's what makes my crickets white. For those of you who watch my videos and you see the crickets are white, that's why my crickets are white. They've been dusted in this calcium powder because it is 100% crucial to a bearded dragon's diet. Another important part of their diet is the superworms. I like to get the 50 count. You don't need to refrigerate, as that says on the side here. But these are an important part to their diet. But they cannot live off critters solely alone. So do keep that in mind, but this is an important part of their diet. You can get these at pet stores, as well as the reptile calcium that I was talking about before. You can get that at any exotic pet store or Petco, PetSmart. Most pet stores carry something like that for sure. And do remember, they cannot solely live off critters. But superworms are a very important part of their diet. Do not feed them mealworms. It needs to be superworms. The container, I'll spin it around here for you. The container will look like this, is what it'll look like. So do keep that in mind. And these fellas right here are another important part of their diet, crickets. Like I said, they cannot solely live off critters, but hey, crickets are also a very important critter in their diet. These are the critters that you want to dust with the calcium powder. I usually feed my bearded dragon about 6 to 8 a day, dusted in that powder. Sometimes I'll even dust the worms. But most of the times, if you just dust the crickets, your bearded dragon will thrive. So do keep that in mind. Now, another topic and another good question I was asked is, What do you feed them as far as vegetables? Well, as far as vegetables go, do not feed them fruits, bananas and stuff like that. It blocks the calcium powder is what it does, and it can cause a calcium deficiency that will cause the death of your bearded dragon. The best veggies, the ones that I use personally myself, is kale, raw bell pepper, raw cabbage, asparagus, carrots. You can also use romaine lettuce, but you cannot feed them iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce is another one that blocks the calcium powder and can cause a calcium deficiency. So that, as far as vegetables, those are the best ones. You can always look online. They have a list of a few other vegetables, but those are just a few that I use that I've had extremely good luck with. And you can also get these products as far as your vegetables go. Of course, it's your local grocery store. A lot of times they'll be right there on the aisle where they're fresh and raw. Those are the best place to shop for those. As far as everything else, you can find in your local pet store or your exotic pet store. Some people that I don't disagree with. If you don't like shopping at Petco or PetSmart, you can find this in an exotic pet store. If you don't have any exotic pet stores in your area, then you can find all the products, the powder, the crickets, the superworms, the bowls, the reptile carpet, all the tanks and lights. You can all find that at Petco or PetSmart or whatever your chain pet store may be in your area. And another very important question I was asked is, where can you actually buy a bearded dragon? Well, when you want to go buy an animal, you need to make sure that you're making a good decision. Now, I'm not saying that Petco or PetSmart or your local pet chain store might not have decent bearded dragons, and some of them do. Some of them keep their bearded dragons very healthy. A good sign of a healthy dragon is that it's not super skinny. A good tail, good colorings. Is your bearded dragon real sluggish, or is it upbeat? If it's upbeat, moving around and eating, it's got a good tail, got a decent belly on it, decent coloring, no bumps or lumps or anything like that, those are huge indicators that you have a healthy bearded dragon there. Or if you like to buy online, there's plenty of sites online. I use Backwater Reptiles. You can also order a bearded dragon. The only problem I don't like with ordering a bearded dragon is you don't get to see your bearded dragon before you buy it. And I like to check out to make sure my bearded dragon is healthy before buying it. So just use good judgment where you buy your bearded dragon at, and look for the things that I said, and you will get a healthy bearded dragon. I've had my bearded dragon now for almost 2 months. As you can see, he's gotten a lot bigger. They'll shed their skin, so that's another thing you can come to expect from these guys. And if they are shedding their skin, that means they're perfectly healthy. They're growing, they're shedding, they're getting bigger. So that's a very good thing. Also, another topic I'd like to talk about before we end this video is the lights. I've also been asked how long the light's on. Well, the lights are best on for 12 hours on and 12 hours off. That's how I do mine. Sometimes in the wintertime, if it's a little cold, if you wanted to leave them on for about 14 hours off, and then keep them off or keep them on for 14 hours and then shut them off for 12 hours and kick them back on, that would be just fine. That won't hurt your bearded dragon at all. To keep it a little extra warm, to keep your temperature gauge up, that's definitely would not be a bad idea. Also, another important topic I want to talk about is you definitely want to take your bearded dragon out of its cage every once in a while and handle it. Make sure that it's sociable and socialize your bearded dragon. That way you don't have a bearded dragon that you can't stick your hand in the cage, because that's not good. So that's also a very important thing. They can be very friendly, especially if you buy them from a baby and hold them all the time like I do mine. You'll have a bearded dragon that you can pick up and interact with, and that's always a good thing. Well, I hope you guys found this bit of information helpful. And a shout out to Joyce, which is a subscriber of mine that originally asked me all these questions that prompt me to do this video. So again, like I said, I hope you guys find this video educational. Just make good decisions with your bearded dragon about where you get it and what you give it. And I hope you listen to what I had to say. These are just some things I've learned from owning one and doing my research. I suggest you guys do the same. But bearded dragons are a great lizard to own, especially if you're starting to get into exotics. If you can just do your research and get down these few simple things. Bearded dragons make a great first exotic pet. I know it was bearded dragons were my first exotic pet, and I'm not sorry at all that I got one. He's a great companion. So again, big shout out to Joyce for asking those really good questions. And I did a video like this before, but I don't know if I went into the depth that I went to in this one about exactly what you need for the cage and the setup and all that. So again, I hope you find this educational, and this is Destroyer out, and we will definitely see you on the next one.